today. And, well, as you probably could have seen by the thumbnail, we are going to be reviewing the poster magazines. Now, this is basically the first Star Wars fan club, and these are really cool and these are all in really nice shapes. Thanks to Mad Max, we were able to acquire these and add these to our collection. And you open it up, it tells you about Star Wars. And, well, the best part about this is it. This one is the first issue, so all the others look a little bit different. This one just has a solid cover. Now you'll see those in a minute. And these are kind of funny to open up because you obviously don't want to tear it, but it tells you all about the characters. Like I said, this is the first issue. Then you open it up, and there's a poster inside. Now, how cool is this? This poster it's a absolutely amazing poster, and it's C-3PO and R2. Now, I do have this one hanging. I do have a duplicate of this one, and I do have a duplicate of issue 7. Obviously, they're not in as good of shape as this is. Then you flip it over, and you just there's so much information about Star Wars. Let's fold this one back up because I know you all want to see the other poster magazines because we've got 14 Star Wars issues and we've got 2 Empire Strikes Back issues. So that's only issue 1. Now we've got a lot more to get to in today's live stream. And we're going to go over 20 minutes. I already know this. Because we've just got so many. We're going to try to cap it at 2 minutes per poster magazine. And, of course, I've got to put it back in its plastic sleeve so that they stay nice and in mint condition for many years to come. We've got issue 2. Now, this cover, I think, this is much better than this cover. I mean, it's an iconic image, but this is what most of them look like, and it's just a really good color combination. It's not plain, it's not black. It's a very vibrant color. Now this is ever so slightly smaller than the first issue. If you line them up, maybe half an inch shorter, so it does fit into the sleeve much nicer. That first one is just huge. And the next 13 issues are this size. Up to issue 14 are exactly like this. Darth Vader lives. So now you're really seeing that the first one was just kind of an introduction. Now we're really getting into it. This is fan club stuff behind the scenes. You have the reporting. Now this is not writing. I almost thought the set wasn't mint, but this is printed. It's not writing. John May is reporting, and Darth Vader lives. Now, of course, we know, but this is pre-Empire Strikes Back. So, you're a Star Wars fan, you saw Darth Vader flying off into space there right at the end of the first movie. What? Darth Vader lives? Before pre-Empire Strikes Back, that information, I don't think anybody could have believed that information. Tatooine, it just tells you all about Tatooine. Who lives there, what lives there, different parts of Tatooine. It's crazy. Now, here it shows how the dogfight in Star Wars. Of course, dogfighting originates back into World War II, but it shows you TIE fighter chasing an X-wing and dogfights in World War II. And of course, this is probably one of the best images from the original Star Wars. And we already saw that Darth Vader lives. Now, what poster could this one be? Now, wait, we're going to have to turn it this way. The very first time we see Darth Vader in all of Star Wars, in all of history. Darth Vader walking down the hall of the Blockade Runner, as I call it. Of course, you guys nowadays call it, oh, it's not the Blockade Runner, it's the Tantive 4. It's the Blockade Runner, that's what it has been called for the past almost 50 years now. Can you believe it? These are almost 50 years old. Now, these first two issues, I believe they were pre toys. So Kenner Star Wars toys were not, they weren't being figures, at least. There were puzzles and stuff, so you get the ad, you know, hats, t-shirts, join the Rebels, you know, Star Wars merchandise, a Star Wars button, of course, the Star Wars poster book, #1, is still available. So this is just an ad, so you can, if you missed the first issue, you could still go buy it. And a lot of magazines did that back then, before the internet. So maybe your comic book store still had them. Star Wars hat, Star Wars poster, Star Wars t-shirts, Star Wars comics. Anything Star Wars was hot on. Star Wars games, Star Wars chains, Star Wars bags, even. If it was Star Wars, it was a hot item. You weren't really going to get any better than that. Now, let's see what this second one has, what the third one has to offer, because these first two are great. These are absolutely, it's just an amazing look into Star Wars history. Issue 3 to this is an iconic cover right here. Star Wars, it's Star Wars, of course. Han Solo, he's pointing his blaster out of the boarding ramp of the Millennium Falcon. Now, this is where they were escaping the Death Star. And now let's go take a look at this one. And they each retailed for $1.50 back in 1977. And there's that photo that was the Chewbacca card back and the Han Solo card back for the original figures. Of course, they airbrushed each other out on the card back, but it's the same famous image. Mostly Death Star escape stuff, Han Solo. And there's just the cover and ad. So now let's open this one up. And there's going to be a whole lot more information in here. So, we've got X-Wing, Stormtroopers, C-3PO, the Master of Illusion, so this is special effects and trash compactor, and what could it be? It's C-3PO and R2-D2. C-3PO and R2-D2 in the Death Star control room. And it's an amazing poster. Now, these are absolutely huge posters. I mean, I put the first issue up on my door. Not the mint copy, but I have a duplicate of that first one. And of course, it's been hung up multiple times before. So there's staples, thumbtack holes, whatever was used to hang it up, and it just takes up pretty much the whole door, and it's a standard sized door. The door to my back room, and I'll show that to everybody here at the end of this stream. Still only have one person watching, and if you're watching, please like the stream if you're enjoying this. So, Luke Skywalker this time now. This cover, Chewbacca, R2-D2, issue 4. Of course, we've got Luke Skywalker and Leia. They already spoiled the poster for us. Now let let's see if that is correct. And there's a whole bunch of information about Luke Skywalker from youth to man and all that good stuff that they're talking about. The building of R2 and soldiers of the Empire. Of course, stormtroopers and yep, as expected, they did unfortunately. I hate it when they do that. It builds suspense when you're opening it and then you see the spoiler and you're like, "Oh, I know what it is now." And I mean, just look at this. This is an iconic poster. Chewbacca he's got his bowcaster there pointed up at you. This would look cool on a wall. Now, of course, that's not there. There's one really iconic poster, and I'm not going to spoil the issue, but I'm just saying there is one truly great poster that if I have a chance to get a duplicate to put it up in the World Toys archive somewhere, I will take that chance. And because the poster is just so cool, it would look so great in here. And issue 5, Darth Vader and C-3PO. The 3PO file, they're looking at their kind of visual of the Battle of Yavin. I mean, it's not a, and of course they have to spoil the poster again. We know it's going to be Darth Vader because maybe next time I'll cover that up so that it's hidden and we can all be surprised together. The power behind the throne, so this is talking about Grand Moff Tarkin and Darth Vader, Chewbacca, a whole section on Chewbacca. Now this is a huge section. Of course, Luke Skywalker and Han taking him down the hall, the medal ceremony. Why didn't Chewie get a medal? That was if Chewie didn't get a medal, then why did Han get a medal? And Luke was the one that most deserved the medal there. Han, I guess he deserved a medal because he showed up. But if Han got a medal, then why didn't Chewie get a medal? And of course, this is pre-Star Wars toys, because if you look at the backs of these, there's no toy ads, and then I'm pretty sure there's one more issue after this that doesn't have a Star Wars toy rebate offer ad, and on the back, and then it's just all rebate offers. And of course, the Sith Lord himself, Darth Vader. It's a nice photo of Darth Vader. I'll give it that. Maybe it's not. It could have been. It would have been so much cooler if it was the Darth Vader Obi-Wan duel, but I mean, we'll take it. It's Darth Vader. Now we'll fold this back up, and can you believe it? We're moving on to issue number 6. And of course, there's the back. Be a charter subscriber. Now, I believe this is the Star Wars lightsaber. Now, I'm pretty sure that is the Canadian saber. And of course, those were made out of the cheapest plastic. And George Lucas, if you know the story behind this, George Lucas didn't want the name Star Wars just slapped on anything, so no gas station toys wouldn't do. There would be no gas station toys for Star Wars. It had to be quality, and that's something that George Lucas really valued. And those first lightsabers were made so poorly that George Lucas said no. They had a utility belt set, and I believe that that is what that came with. And maybe it was sold on its own as well, but that utility belt set is so rare because it was so cheaply made, and George Lucas hated it because it was not good quality. And moving on. Issue 6, Tusken Raider, C-3PO and R2 on the cover. And of course, giant Star Wars poster inside. They are giant. And there's the back, the last issue before we have to look at what are arguably good ads, but after 4 or 5 of those, it kind of gets annoying looking at it. You get stuff on droids. Not just any droids, R2-D2. The spaceships of Star Wars. Now this is a great article. It tells you about the ships. I mean, the ships are what makes Star Wars iconic because they're unique looking. They were unique for their time, of course. They're not unique now, they're iconic. And the ships are what made Star Wars Star Wars. If there were no ships, then it would just be another military movie of soldiers running around. But the ships are what made it so great. The ships are arguably the best part of the toy line. The figures, of course, Star Wars was a really great movie, and the ships were one of the best parts of it. Of course, we have some photos of Tusken Raiders and Tatooine photos, and an alien universe. Of course it is. This time they didn't spoil the poster, but that's alright because it is C-3PO. Now, a pretty generic photo of C-3PO, but I mean, he's not everybody's favorite character, but I mean, it's kind of just a copy of the Vader, and we already had C-3PO on a poster. This one could have been a much... this one, it was kind of a wasted... I mean, I guess we did get R2-D2, or in the next issue we will get R2-D2, but the standalones are the worst issues. I mean, let's be honest. When you're buying these, or when you were buying these back in the 70s and 80s, you wanted action shots, not just a character standing. You wanted battles and stuff like that on these posters. Of course, issue 7, now we get into the Kenner toys. The inflatable lightsaber, the laser blaster, the TIE fighter, remote control R2-D2, some masks, the X-Wing, the figures, and even the own poster magazines. Now that's the first issue. And the belt buckles. Those belt buckles, I mean, they're just truly iconic. Now, the droids of Star Wars and R2-D2 and C-3PO and the chess table, well, or Jajarek as you call it. We just called it space chess, or you did. I call it space chess. Of course, its proper name is Jajarek. And I'm not going to show you that because that'll spoil it. And I kind of already did spoil it. But That's all right. But you don't know what image of it R2 is in yet, so in a way it is still a surprise. Now, George Lucas there on the set of Star Wars. Now, someday in the future, in the distant future, sometime I will go to the Star Wars set in Tunisia. That is a place I will go to at some point in my life. At some point, I will make it out there. And it won't be in the next 5 years, but at some point, we will do that. I've made it to the Redwoods, to Death Valley. Now, next is Tunisia. Anyways, the Death Star beams, blasters, and battle stations. That just sounds like a cool article. Of course, it just tells you how they did the laser effects and stuff. So now we open the poster. It's a standalone of R2-D2. Now, R2-D2, let's be honest, he's cooler than C-3PO. And arguably, he's the most important character in Star Wars because the original, well, the whole saga is told through the eyes of R2-D2. Because R2-D2 was there when all of these things happened. And of course, there's these little side quests that he wasn't at, yeah. But the whole story is told through R2-D2. And, of course, you can see the screws and bolts there. I mean, it's not the most iconic image of R2, but it is an image of R2. Now, these poster magazines, they kind of lay too heavy on R2-D2 and C-3PO. I mean, the first issue, R2-D2, C-3PO, we get a little break there for a while. Then R2-D2 and C-3PO on the Death Star. Okay, there's two. And then they each get their standalone. We could have got some other images besides R2-D2 and C-3PO, but I mean, I guess R2-D2 and C-3PO, like a cantina, or Mos Eisley, one of those would have been great posters. But we had to get R2-D2 and C-3PO now 4 times over. And, of course, issue 8. Now, I mean, the special effects. I mean, how cool is that? This will be a good article. Now, I'm not going to spoil the poster. Of course, there's the cover. And there's the Kenner Star Wars ad. Don't want to spoil the poster. I can already see what it is. And if I can, I guess we have to open it this way. Well, not open the poster, but open the other article. And of course, if I was going to read all of these articles, it would take a couple hours. And I don't want to keep you here for 3 hours. So this will probably be a half hour, maybe an hour, but we're going pretty fast. Ben Kenobi, Man or Legend. Now if this was on a poster, maybe it will be. I opened these all up, but I didn't keep them open, so I didn't have time. But maybe this will be on one of the posters, but this would have been a cool poster. Just that right there. And of course, the ins and outs of space travel. Now that would be cool. Of course, that image right there. It's not the most iconic image of Ben Kenobi and Darth Vader's fight, but it is. It's a. It's an image of the main lightsaber duel. The Last Jedi meets an old pupil. Now, of course, in Empire Strikes Back, we find out that Obi-Wan Kenobi is not truly the last Jedi. And no, Rey is not the last Jedi. And it's a stormtrooper. Now this is a cool image of a stormtrooper. If R2-D2s or Darth Vader's or even C-3POs were this cool, they might pass for having a solo. If Darth Vader had his lightsaber out, that he would pass for having a solo in a white background. But this is a cool poster. Stormtrooper. You can just see him saying hands up right there. This is a truly cool poster. It's not the best poster, but this is acceptable to hang up. C-3POs, R2-D2s maybe, although, but that one is definitely the best of the white background solos. Now, okay. We are moving on to issue 9 as soon as I put this back in the sleeve. Alright, issue 9. Now, issue 9. This cover is... How can you not like this cover? It's a special issue, official monthly poster. And these are all original prints because they do have the barcode starting at issue 5. The barcodes weren't on the first 4 issues. I don't know why. But this cover is... It's a great cover. Now let's, of course, take it out of the sleeve. Right here. It's a special issue. Ralph McQuarrie. I love the old Ralph McQuarrie art. It's some of the best art out there. It's some of the best art that you can find. I mean, Ralph McQuarrie, these are what I envision when I envision Star Wars images. They're iconic. I mean, how can you not like this? Old lights, it's art. Yavin base. This should be on a poster. Unfortunately, it's not, but that is a great depiction of Yavin base right there. Now, let's see what other articles. Will it be as cool as the Ralph McQuarrie? I don't think. Ralph McQuarrie, he's a great artist. His Star Wars art is really good. And we have 3 people watching. That's really good. You're helping out the channel a lot. We're getting our watch time up, and 3 people, that's really truly amazing. So, system in collision, so that's talking about the destruction of Alderaan, the brain of the droid. It's talking about droid's work, I guess. Now, what could this poster be? They didn't have a spoiler in this. What could it be? Now, this Darth Vader is... I will put this up instead of that other Darth Vader. This Darth Vader is... It is a really cool image of Darth Vader. I mean, how could you not like this? It's a truly amazing image of Darth Vader. He's got his lightsaber extended. How can you not like that? You know, it's almost just a plain white poster, but no, they added some detail at the top. blue sky or something. Now, this, I believe, I don't know if this is accurate, but it almost looks like it is a teaser for Hoth. It almost looks like that. Now, I mean, if this is a teaser for The Empire Strikes Back, because again, it's issue 9, so there is a possibility that it maybe could be a teaser for The Empire Strikes Back. Now, of course, I don't know that for sure, and I mean, I don't know if it is, but it certainly looks like it could possibly be. Now, while I fold this up, I will show you what the C-3PO R2-D2 poster looks like in the World Toys archives. Right there. We got him hanging up. Now, of course, I said that it is not in mint condition, and it certainly it's not. I mean, you put away the mint copy and you have fun with the not with the kind of beater copy. You enjoy it. You preserve the nice mint stuff, and you have a little bit of fun with the used stuff. Issue 10, so we've got only 4 more issues of Star Wars. Giant Star Wars poster inside, of course. If you have been paying attention, you should know what this one is. And I mean, Star Wars Snowball, so this is, of course, just kind of a big wrap on costumes and stuff like that. Of course, we've got Phil Tippett right there. Of course, if you compare a picture of, or not Phil Tippett. Phil Tippett was a stop motion. Stuart Freeborn, and if you compare a picture of Stuart Freeborn and Yoda, you can just see what he did, and he just made almost a self-portrait of himself with big ears. It's kind of a inside joke he played on everybody else at Lucasfilm. And The Return of Evil, what it takes to be a space pilot, some rad images of Darth Vader. Let's be honest, that one he just looks like he wants to shake your hand right there. And some Ralph McQuarrie art right there. You can tell it's Ralph McQuarrie because it looks similar to Star Wars, but at the same time it looks nothing like Star Wars. And okay, this is the best poster for the Star Wars posters. If I find a duplicate of this that's not in the mintest condition, but it is in good enough condition, I'll get it just to put it up, because this is an iconic poster right here. It's almost like the movie poster, but it's just kind of... I like this a little bit more than the movie poster. I mean, of course, we've got Chewbacca down there. We've got a Jawa. Stormtroopers, the land speeder. Now, if you look closely, of course, it is the same image from the last one, but it is cut off at the bottom. So you don't see Chewbacca on this one, and you don't see the Jawa, but I mean, if this was the movie poster, it it may have done a little bit better, but the movie poster is iconic, of course. There's nothing taking away from that because it is the movie poster. Now, we are on to issue 11. I mean, it's issue 11. We are almost ready to move on to The Empire Strikes Back. And I mean, I probably will do an individual video for each of these, but I mean this live stream is it's good. It's good for now. Giant Star Wars poster inside, official monthly poster, issue 11. Chewbacca and C-3PO on the front. Of course, we've got the Kenner Star Wars ad on the back, just like we have for the past every issue. And Star Wars Symphony, so this is talking about John Williams and how he's making the music for Star Wars. It's of course, those articles. The articles are dated because we know a lot more behind the scenes now than we did back in the Lucas era. And hyperspace, the man behind the masks, or the men behind the masks. So Chewbacca, Darth Vader, R2-D2, C-3PO, of course, Peter Mayhew. Now, of course, I forget who did Darth Vader. I know James Earl Jones did the voice. Kenny Baker was R2-D2, and Anthony Daniels was C-3PO. I knew who Darth Vader was at one point, but not now, of course. Anyways, of course, I know you want to see this poster. And, of course, we have yet another R2-D2 solo. It's better than the last R2-D2, but I mean, come on, we didn't need another R2-D2. We'd already had, this is the 5th poster depicting either R2-D2 or C-3PO. I mean, I get the droids were kind of the main thing, but there were so many other opportunities for posters that were not R2-D2 or C-3PO. Now, we have issue 12. Now, if this was on a poster, it wouldn't be my favorite poster, but it would be much better than a 5th R2 or C-3PO. And, I mean, it's a great cover. I mean, the Cantina, of course. HasLab released the Cantina, so this is probably pretty cool, and this was in the thumbnail. This poster was in the thumbnail, or this cover for the poster magazine. The Soundmaster, so this is talking about, again, you know, the boom mic and stuff. And just behind the scenes photos, of course, how they did the lightsaber and blasters and stuff like that. And you can actually go out and make your own blaster sounds right now if you want to. Of course, you have to live near some power lines to do it, but if you live near power lines, you're in luck because and of course you need a wrench. Power lines and a wrench. And if you go, the power line support cables that come down off the power lines, if you tap on them with a wrench, they sound exactly like the Star Wars blasters, and it's really it's just really fascinating how they got the sounds for Star Wars from the most generic places, but yet they're the most unique sounds in the world. And you could just go walk down the street and make those sounds. Anyways, movie making magic, stuff like that. The Cantina aliens. Now, of course, it'll go into their proper names. Not, the Kenner names are better. Let's face it. The Kenner names are better. Now, this is a great poster right here. This is a truly amazing poster. An X-Wing chasing Darth Vader's TIE Fighter. It's not Luke's X-Wing, it's Red 1. It appears to be. Maybe that's 3 stripes. No, it's Red 1, so whoever was Red 1, I don't know off the top of my head. I haven't memorized X-Wing pilots. I've memorized, of course, I know it by Kenner names, by not by proper names. Of course, Luke Skywalker was an X-Wing pilot. He's Red 5. And then Big Stark Glider's Red 3. I know Porkins, but I can't remember what he was. Red 1 is Red Leader, so I don't know. I don't know his name, but I know it is Red Leader. And it looks like Darth Vader's gonna get hit, but we do know, as was stated in a previous issue, that Darth Vader does survive. Now that is issue 12 for you. Now we're going to go back. And, hey, we've got only 4 more issues, so this stream, it's 4 issues. It doesn't seem like a lot, but we're going to enjoy them. We will enjoy them. And, these poster magazines they're so great, and they're just icons. They're icons of their time, and I really think that these are Star Wars. These tell Star Wars. Of course, Bantha Tracks did replace them, although they were running at the same time, but Bantha Tracks was just starting up, and this was going well before Bantha Tracks. It's better than Bantha Tracks, let's be honest. Bantha Tracks was just a magazine, whereas these poster magazines, you get a magazine. But then, once you're done reading the magazine, you just flip it over, and then you just get a little bit of poster putty, some staples or thumbtacks or whatever you use to hang posters. And you can put it on your wall. And it's very cool, iconic, giant Star Wars image. And it's these. I wish they still did these. Of course, we'd get Rey and BB-8, but these are amazing. The Shooting of Star Wars, Part 2 on the floor. So, by Part 2, they're either talking about the Death Star or Empire Strikes Back. I believe they would mean Empire Strikes Back there. And because, again, this is issue 13, the second to last. So people are starting to know, and Lucasfilm has made it public by now, that there is another Star Wars movie in production. And by issue 14, Lucasfilm, you'll have a date for that, and issue 14 will be building some hype. So part 2 And here we go. So let's get into the second part of the articles. And you get the Death Star, the Yavin hangar base, and some Death Star. And that is an above shot of the sand crawler. So that is the image of where I believe, yeah, that's where they're burning the droid, or the Jawas, not droids. But you can just see the big semis just out there in the middle of the desert. There's no buildings. And there's the sandcrawler. Now George Lucas, he did want to build a full-sized sandcrawler, but they if you know this story, anyways, in Tunisia, they were filming in Tunisia, but the country of Libya, they were filming really close to the border. Anyways, George Lucas wanted to build this giant vehicle, and anyways, the country of Libya feared that Tunisia would use it as a military vehicle, and they didn't want that to happen, so he had to settle with just building the wheels and the base of the sandcrawler. Now, of course, there's a poster with this one. It is Luke Skywalker and C-3PO, although it's a pretty good image. Now, if I had to choose between this and the R2 image, I would choose this one. I mean, it's cooler than the R2 image. It's not just a standalone. You get Luke Skywalker, you get the Lars Homestead. It's better than the R2 image, but again, we get yet another C-3PO. And I cannot believe Luke Skywalker did not get his own standalone. Now, Empire Strikes Back, it does get much cooler. And, of course, there's the ad for the Kenner toys yet again. Now, the Star Wars up there, that's definitely the best. That's the best, well, it's not the best cover, but if they combined this and that writing and this image, it would probably be the best cover. I mean, let's be honest, it's a great cover, but it would just look better with the cantina. Guys. So let's put this away in its sleeve so that we can so that this is preserved for the next generation, as these were preserved for me, and we have to preserve items for future generations, especially relics like these, because, of course, these were before the special editions, and, of course, the special editions did kind of, in a way, ruin Star Wars, because it wasn't the movie that I haven't even seen the original Star Wars. Star Wars A New Hope I've seen, but I haven't seen Star Wars. And these were special editions. It was kind of like a sequel to Star Wars that was the exact same, but it had a couple minor changes. And anyways, issue 14, so this is the last Star Wars issue. And of course, giant Star Wars poster inside. Now, they better end it with a good one, with a great one. Now, if you have been watching, you probably have an idea what this Star Wars poster will be, because it is a great one. And well, actually, that's not a spoiler, so I thought I had an idea of what it is, but it'll just be a surprise, I guess. I thought that was the little Star Wars poster image, but it is a great one because it's the last one before we get into Empire Strikes Back. Anyways, Star Wars and the Effects Pioneers, Wars in Space and Fact and Fiction. Now some more absolutely cool Ralph McQuarrie art. The machines that make lines move. I mean, of course, they're talking about the droids, but machines. This is a Star Wars magazine. They're not machines? And I think they did know that, but I I guess I just call them machines. Wars in Space, of course, we've looked at this. And this is, of course, Ralph McQuarrie art. Now, TIE chasing the X-Wing over the Death Star. Now, I love this old Ralph McQuarrie art. I just wish that Cinefantastique cover was a Star Wars poster, because that cover, it's better than some of Ralph McQuarrie's are. Not all of Ralph McQuarrie's are, but some of it's better than. And this is a great poster. It's absolutely, I mean, it's Ralph McQuarrie art. You can't go wrong with that for the last poster of the Star Wars run. Now we're going to be moving into Empire Strikes Back. Now, these I think they were both subscription based, and you could buy these at the store. I believe, I'm not positive on that, but I believe that you could subscribe to these and get them in the mail. Of course, these were store-bought because they are just in mint condition. Anyways, Empire Strikes Back, issue 1. This is the greatest Star Wars movie. It's an absolutely great one. It's the best one. Star Wars, arguably Star Wars, but Star Wars built that suspense. And Empire Strikes Back finally answered it. And what do we have on the back? Well, we don't have an ad. We have a mini poster. You get 2 posters for the price of 1. If you don't have room on your wall from all of those Star Wars posters because you have 14 Star Wars posters on your wall, you don't have room, that's okay. You have a mini poster. And, of course, Back in Action. Now, as soon as we get to 500 subscribers, when we get this channel monetized, I will start making some channel merch, and I just have to put this poster magazine cover Back in Action, and it has a great photo on it, so it's great. Of course, Back in Action, it's Star Wars. People are hyped. It's not just the regular sequel. It's not a direct copy. It is something different, and that is what makes Star Wars special. Of course, that's at the end of the movie where R2's repairing C-3PO. Got the Falcon Echo base, Han on Bespin, and that's that famous scene of Han drawing his blaster, where he fires those shots at Darth Vader, of course. Darth Vader is cool enough where he can just stick his hand out and block Han's shots. Night on the Ice Planet, so that's covering Luke and Han's night out in the snow. We've got 3 people here. Now this poster, it's the Empire Strikes Back posters. Unfortunately, I only have 2 of them, but they are much better posters than what we got with the original Star Wars. Now, some of the issue 10 Star Wars poster, that's the best poster from the original set of the Star Wars posters. But Empire Strikes Back beats everything else. Of course, Night on the Ice Planet, we've got Ralph McQuarrie art for Empire Strikes Back. A whole new movie. A lot more Ralph McQuarrie art. Of course, Echo Base in Ralph McQuarrie style. City of the Clouds, Cloud City, in Ralph McQuarrie style. I mean, the cloud cars, of course, it's not accurate, but that's what's special. That's what's so cool about Ralph McQuarrie art. You can tell it is Star Wars, but at the same time, it's not Star Wars. Ralph McQuarrie's interpretation of Cloud City, of course, some movie photos from Cloud City. We open it up and we get the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon. Now this is where they're making their way through the asteroid field, and I don't think this is either when they're parked in the asteroid or in the giant space slug, or this is where they're parked on the Star Destroyer and they're looking, or I don't know, they're not parked on the Star Destroyer here. Or maybe they are. They're looking for places to go to land and do repairs, and it's just a great poster. Now, of course, we have one more poster, and of course, I've got to get those other Empire Strikes Back posters. Now, they did not carry these out into Jedi. Actually, maybe they did, but I haven't. The Jedi, if they did, the Jedi ones are very scarce and hard to find. And of course, issue 2 of Empire Strikes Back. Now the cover, unfortunately for Empire, issue 1, the cover is the same as the poster. It goes the same for issue 2. Now, I don't like that, but it is what it is. Dark Lord of the Sith, Forces of the Empire, giant poster inside. If it said Star Wars poster, it would be so much better. Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back. Now, this is a t-shirt. This would be great on a t-shirt, issue 2. Now, of course, if you could put that first Empire Strikes Back poster on your wall, but you just ran out of room, and you could not put this up, you got a mini poster of Boba Fett and IG-88. Now, this mini poster, it's so much better than this one. I mean, the Boba Fett alone. I mean, but it's Boba Fett. Boba Fett is the coolest bounty hunter, well, before the Disney days, at least, because he had his helmet off all the time, and that just ruined the mystery. But you got IG-88, and inside, Vader, the Dark Lord, and you have some scenes from the Star Destroyer and from Cloud City, with his famous duel with Luke. Now we open it up. Forces of the Empire. Imperial Stormtroopers. That would be a great poster right there. That's a cool image of a Stormtrooper. You got the all-terrain armored transport. AT-AT. It's not AT-AT. It's AT-AT. That would also be a great poster. Imperial TIE Fighters. It wouldn't be my favorite poster, but it would be better than another 3PO poster. The Bounty Hunters, that right there, that would be a great poster. Imperial Probe Droid, it would be a cool poster. Not my favorite. Star Destroyers, that would be a great poster. And another image of a Star Destroyer. That's definitely would be an amazing poster. Of course, we have none other than Darth Vader. Right there, Darth Vader. He just sliced off the whatever that was. I don't even know what that was. Just some random steel rods with his lightsaber. And then you can just see all of those lights on there on the inners of Cloud City. And Luke's out there, and this is cool. This is a cool poster because of the moment that this took place in the movie. He's right about to say, Luke, I am your father. That was the best moment of Empire Strikes Back because it's the best because it built suspense and what will happen to Luke in Return of the Jedi. And that is what built so much hype for Return of the Jedi was that line in Empire Strikes Back. Empire Strikes Back left so many loose ends, and I think that is what made Return of the Jedi not that great because it all ended. You could tell the Empire was defeated, and that's the one takeaway from the original Star Wars. It ended. You felt like the Empire was destroyed. If the Empire wasn't destroyed, and that's what made The Empire Strikes Back so great. Because in the original Star Wars, you thought the rebels had won. You thought they had won. And then come Return of the Jedi, come The Empire Strikes Back, they strike back. They defeat the rebels. The rebels lose at the Battle of Hoth. And the Empire's more powerful, and the rebels are scattering. They're in trouble. The Empire is winning. And then the Empire shows their force by freezing Han in carbonite. Vader tells Luke he's his father, and Vader cuts Luke's hand off, and then it just builds. In Return of the Jedi it answered those questions, but not in the way most of us were expecting. And this poster it's a great poster. I would put this up. But of course it is in mint condition, and the Empire Strikes Back posters, let's be honest, they're much better than the Star Wars posters, at least. And that's really it for today's stream. So if you made it the full hour that we were on air, a full hour, can you believe that? 1 whole hour. It's our longest stream yet, and it was a great one, and that's really it. Please subscribe to the channel, as that does help us out here at Your Old Toys. That'll help you get more content, and it's a win-win situation. If you subscribe, you get more content, and if you turn notifications on, you get notified when there's new content, so that makes the deal even better for you, and that those subscribers, as they keep going up, that will, it just tells me that we have a fan base, they want the content, and it helps me get the content out to you faster. So guys, that's really it for today's video. Thank you all for watching. And do you have the poster magazines? Do you want the poster magazines after watching this? So guys, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next video or live stream.